Welcome, guys, to the Balanced Business Dad. Again, this is Dustin Hogue, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, R.J. Campbell. Remember, this is a conversation that focuses on the balance of the important pillars of the life of the everyday dad. Those pillars include faith, health, marriage, fatherhood, brotherhood, and career or business.
So today, guys, we're going to do a little bit different. A lot of times we have a topic we want to talk about and go over the pillars that we think are so important in life. But today we're going to be very real and raw with you because there's some unbalanced going on in my life, a little bit of RJ's life, but things have gotten crazy. So we decided just to be real with you. Not even sure how far this is going to go, but we want to be real to show you that this happens. This happens in our faith, our health, our being a father, being a husband, and in our businesses. And sometimes it's just, it's good to be real with it and have some clarity around it to figure out how we can get back into balance as soon as possible.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This would be interesting. This is we hear a lot of Dustin's story, I think, on this one, even probably a little bit more than mine. But he has had some big changes in his life. As you know, we've talked about it before in the introduction. You know, Dustin is a serial entrepreneur. He is a real estate investor. He is a coach. What am I leaving out of the main things? Obviously, an owner
really
of
handsome.
Handsome, tall. He's the bald one. You know, owner of, I don't even know, 5 businesses, maybe something like that. But you know, his focus has been for a while real estate investing, coaching. That's a big part of what he does. So now we talk about being out of balance.
Yes.
What has changed this year, Mr. Hogue?
Yeah. So this year got a little crazy. So I'll back up where it even happened at. But I have wanted a piece of recreational land for quite a while. I have 2 young kids, as we know, and I wanted to play out there and just be outdoors and be away from technology, be away from computers and all that fun stuff. So I was constantly looking for recreational land. And funny enough, on Facebook Marketplace, I see a campground for sale.
And I have to tell you, this was a Friday night, I believe, because I get a text from Dustin that says, hey, we should buy this.
And I'm sure RJ blew me off, and then I think by Monday I bought it.
Yes, a couple days later I get a text from Dustin saying, I put in a contract.
Yeah.
So is this a little campground, 2 or 3 tent sites?
Well, a little bit bigger than that. So we purchased 65 acres. It's down on the Black River, which is in south central Missouri. So if you know anywhere about Missouri, it's about 2 hours south of St. Louis. And it has 65 acres, 7 cabins, 13 RV sites, and we run floats on the Black River there where we bus people down to the river. They can get in a raft or a kayak, and then we pick them up about 5 to 7 hours later. So quite an operation that comes with staff and equipment. I mean, I own a tractor. I own 3 school buses now, a shuttle van, a 70,000-gallon in-ground pool, which I've never even worked on a pool before. So it got pretty legit pretty quick, and we closed on that March 15th.
But you have a long background in camping, floating.
Funny story. Not a camper at all. And my wife and I would probably do 1 float trip, is what we call them down there, a year with a bunch of other people. So a float trip, if you guys have never seen it, just picture that you bring a lot of alcohol in a cooler, you get in a raft, and you sit on this raft, and the river takes you down the river for 7 hours in the blazing heat. A lot of fun. What I like to call a Hoosier Fest, but a Hoosier in a good way.
It's redneck fun.
Yeah, it is. And it's so much fun and so relaxing. And now we run one of those operations. It's called a campground and outfitter. And things have gotten really out of balance with that because it's taken me a lot of work. It's 2 hours from my house, which has been a lot. Like I said, we closed March 15th, and we've done a ton of work to it. I've brought in 90 ton of rock. I've built stores. We built us an apartment there, as well as some of my other employees there, an apartment, because again, I don't camp, so I'm not going to sleep in a tent while I'm there. Our plan was to be down there every weekend and run it, Friday through Sunday, and it's just been a lot more time, probably these last 3 to 4 weeks. There's been a lot of time devoted to that, and a lot of time where, not in my office here where I can work, 8 to 5, I have to go down there and spend the night.
So how far away is it, you said?
It's 2 hours exactly.
Yep.
So, that's a lot of time. So my kids just got out of school, but I would either drop them off to school, and then I wouldn't see anybody till the next day. and my wife would have to drop them off the next day, and then I could pick them up maybe. So that was out of balance. Or my son and I are in martial arts together, so we'd have to miss some of those classes together. And it just got crazy. It's an unknown business, obviously, and to me, so I didn't know what to expect. Managing employees is a different thing because in real estate investing, I have a core group of employees, if you will, but these are people I don't know and haven't developed the trust with yet. And then just trying to make sure everything works. And wow, everything has not worked. It's been the exact opposite of that.
There's a lot of equipment.
Like I said, we have a lot of equipment. It came with 2 large buses, if you will, 1 short bus, a shuttle van, a Ford 250 that's probably older than I am, and a Chevy truck, trailers, all the rafts that go with it, probably 100 rafts if you add it all up.
Canoes,
kayaks. Wow. A golf cart that stopped working first day. And out of all that equipment, I've had problems with the Ford. The shuttle van doesn't move right now. 1 big bus doesn't move. And the golf cart, we had to buy a new golf cart. And my first weekend, so this is actually Memorial Day when we're recording
We are
this,
sitting here on Memorial Day Monday.
which talks about out of balance, right? But we did our first weekend down there, and we get the campers loaded up in the bus, and the short bus stops moving. Literally won't go into gear anymore. So that was my weekend.
That was his weekend. So
Yeah.
this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, was the opening weekend,
Yeah,
right?
Memorial Day was opening weekend, and honestly, besides that, everything went really smooth, which is good. But again, we're here at my office. We took some time to record this, but I'm also going to be working some more of the day because it's so out of balance right now to figure out all my other businesses because so much of my time has been devoted to the campground. With all that being said, I've also added another business on top of that in the last probably month and a half. And again, not for me to only talk, but we'll talk about what's an update in R.J. here in a second. But I added another division to my coaching company. So I'm what I call a results coach. I coach people on how to live the life they want to. And that all started with me coaching real estate agents to show how you can just have an amazing career as a real estate agent, get them into production as soon as possible. And I've kind of rejuvenated that a little bit and kind of went all in with a new real estate brokerage and going to be coaching agents across the country. So because of that, I've been traveling a lot.
Which is not normal.
No, not
Not
normal
at all.
at all. I was in Minnesota, Stillwater, Minnesota last week. The week before that, I was in Kansas City for the night. So, out of 2 weeks, me gone for 3 nights is a lot.
On top of being gone to the campground.
On top of being gone for the campground,
Right.
yeah. So it's been crazy. That being said, again, we're all going to have, in my opinion, be out of balance sometimes in life. With that being said, again, we just have to have clarity around it. When you know that you're out of balance, how can you bring it back? What can you do to bring back balance, or at least make sure that you're spending time with the people that are the most important to you? So something we're doing. Yes, I have to go down to the campground tomorrow on a Tuesday, which is not supposed to be a part of the schedule. Yet my whole family's coming down there. It's just going to be a day of it. Like, I might have to work for an hour, yet we get to enjoy the pool because there's not many campers down there.
Right.
And I have my dad and my uncles coming down. So it's going to be a fun family day, even though I'm going to be taking care of some work. So that kind of helps to balance there a little bit.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So we talked about these 6 pillars, which if you haven't listened to one of the previous podcasts, the first pillars, or the pillars that we talk about, are faith and health and marriage, brotherhood. Nope, got that wrong. Fatherhood and then brotherhood. See, I should write these down. And the last one being your business.
Correct, yes.
and your companies.
Yeah.
So right now, obviously, pillar number 6 is a lot higher. It's
is.
a lot busier than the other ones. We have a lopsided. It's not a stool because
Yeah.
there's 6 legs to it. But
Right.
yeah, for Dustin's world, it's out of balance.
It's a little out of balance right
Yeah.
now, too. And it's, I have, again, very young kids, so they think it's fun,
Right.
Which helps. But an extremely supportive wife who's in all of our businesses and the CFO of all of our businesses, which helps, too. And I always think of, hey, it's not going to be that bad. She thinks it's going to be horrible. So we always meet in the middle on what is going to happen. I didn't think it was going to take this much, and she thought it was going to take a lot more. So, again, we met in the middle.
Yeah, but you have good people. I mean,
Yes.
he's stealing people from the other businesses, or
Yes.
reassigning them. Not that much stealing them. So
Yeah.
we have good contractors that work for him, and on the real estate sides, on rehab. So these guys are now spending and their wives. Days down there during the week, they're there on the weekends.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah, it's my crew is, I'm so blessed with my crew. Don't know how people do it without a good crew, honestly. But we've been extremely blessed with that. People going down there, spending the night in campers or living in campers or, going back and then coming back. So they're on the road for 5 hours a day, if not more. And it's been a lot. Again, it's also most of my businesses I have is passive.
Right. That's a big difference.
It's a lot of difference. Even my rehabs I do, I'm not rehabbing them. I have contractors to rehab them. This, I'm here. I'm here working the store. I'm stocking ice. I'm cutting down trees, which, by the way, that was funny to see. I've never had a chainsaw in my hand.
How do you start this thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just stood back and watched that. This is going to be hilarious, or we're going to medevac to the hospital.
So it's been a wild ride. But again, I always see the future of it. And I'm a big person. I will look at any business if, number one, it's fun and entertaining, which this one was. Number two, it cannot take time away from my family. And number three, it's got to be profitable, obviously. Well, number two, I'm going to say right now it's done both. It's given time for my family because we do it together and they're there staying with us and the kids are having so much fun. But it's also taking a little bit of time away. So I have to catch on to that quick where I have to go down and I have to get down and dirty and figure this out so I can have the schedule I want to have. So that's kind of what's the update on me. Yeah, since the last time we talked, RJ has some updates too. What's going on in your world?
I didn't buy a campground, so mine is a little bit smaller than that. But I have retired from corporate life after, I don't even know how long, 30-something years. So my background, which I mentioned before, so I've always been in the printing and mailing type industry, that type of, from the sales side and account side and operational side. And so just over a month ago, decided that, nope, life's too short. We're done with that. This is something Dustin and I have talked about for a long time. So I retired from that corporate world, and I'm now focusing just on the real estate investing that I do, the photography company that I have, which is mainly real estate photography. But then also, this the fun part, is I get to work for Dustin now. So I am what he calls his integrator, which would be like his general manager of these 5 different businesses or whatever that number is up to, and operationally and seeing how they run. So it's a different world.
It's a different world. I like to say instead of work for, work with.
Yes. And that's usually how I say I work with Dustin. But so very, very different for me. So on the balance side, and it just made some changes. I left a relative. I shouldn't say. Well, we took a pay cut to retire from corporate life and to do this, but that's okay. We just do more real estate and flip more houses, and life is good. So it's a very different thing. I've left a company that had 52,000 employees, and now there are a handful of us. So it's very different. So that's a lot. It's a totally different set of challenges, but it's a lot of fun. So that's the big change for me. But it's you get rid of the corporate stress. This is a lot easier. It's a lot more flexible. By day shooting houses is a lot easier. So it's been fun. Yeah, but different.
But a couple things you said there that I wanted to point out. You said we focus on our real estate investing. We focus on because that is such a huge part. Is you did take a pay cut, which means you and your wife took a pay cut, right? Because you had money going into your household. So tell us how that worked and, coming into that conversation, because that could throw things out of balance real quick. You guys are really comfortable, and now, hey, let's take a pay cut.
Yeah. And
sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. And there was a lot of, there was stress in that. Yeah. So we talked about this. Dustin and I have talked about it for months and months and months. He used to always joke, man, if you could just get fired from your job and get a good severance package, come to work for me. But you know what? You can never get fired when you want to get fired. Right. That's the problem with getting fired. So, we talked about this. Then we got serious for a month or two before this actually happened. And so we'd go over the numbers and I'd talk about it to my wife. And, of course, she was not nearly as excited about it as I was because she's just thinking about the immediate change in income that's coming in. Although we know we can make it up through other, that's not going to be what's going to stop us. But, there was definite stress there, deep conversations about can we do this? Is this going to have a negative impact on our life? We're pretty fortunate at our age that it's a term Dustin uses. Our freedom line is pretty low. Our mortgage payment is relatively low because we've had houses for a long time. We don't have any car payments. So that part, it wasn't worried that we were going to lose our house. But you lose all your fund money. That's really the thing. It's that disposable income change. So, we talked about it for a long time. She was not nearly as excited about it as I was. But by the time it came to actually make a decision, it was kind of on a weekend, and we kept talking about it. I said, you know what? I think on Monday I'm going to go in and tell them I'm retiring. And it was a quick change. It's amazing. My wife's like, all right, we're doing this then. We'll do it. All right. I trust you. And then she said that a lot. I trust you. You can, if you say we can do this, then let's do it.
Wow. So that's something right there. And so the next episode, we're going to talk about marriage. So I'm sure we're going to bring that up quite a bit then. But when your spouse, significant other, whatever, says, I trust you, we're moving walls to make sure it happens.
Yep. Yes. Right? Now we cannot let her down on that one.
Right.
That's something my father-in-law said to me a lot of years ago was, don't ever give your wife a reason to say I told you so, because she will for the rest of your life. Long memories. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a joking the way I say it. But yeah, now you really don't want to fail because, like she said, I trust you. We'll make this happen.
Yeah.
We'll do it. And we are. And we're having fun.
That's great. So I love hearing a story like that. Obviously, I'm big on you shouldn't do things you don't want to do in life. I coach to that often. I coach many, many people on that. Hey, what do you want to do? And let's figure out a plan. And RJ is a true testament of that. So that's fantastic. Yeah. And wow, did my business need his help. So
yeah. What is the name of the book? With the integrator.
Rocket Fuel.
Rocket Fuel.
Rocket Fuel, which comes out of Traction, which is a business, business management book, I would call it. And then the second version of that is called Rocket Fuel, which it talks about a visionary and integrator role. Which a visionary, which is what I'm considered, is someone who wants to keep the business moving forward, but not deal with the mundane day-to-day task like HR or anything, honestly.
Websites.
Yeah, just all sorts of stuff. I just want to think
reservation
bigger.
Programs for your campsite.
Exactly. I just want to think bigger and grow more. And having RJ on board allows me to do that. So it's been great. That part is going to help me get back into balance really quick, which I am confident in a couple weeks after I buy a new school bus, because I have to do that this week because mine broke down, that everything's going to be back where it was, and the campground is going to be exactly what I want it. And you never know. I may buy another campground this summer.
Yeah, there's rumor out there on that. They're looking around on those things. It's kind of funny. By the way, we're blaming this all on Yellowstone. So
100%.
Dustin wanted land for a while.
100%.
For the last couple of years, he's been, he'd send me, like, hey, look at this, 15 acres or whatever that's out in the middle of nowhere. And then it's all when he started watching Yellowstone.
100%.
Because now he wants cattle.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with cattle.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to kill the cattle. I eat beef, but
no, we want these as pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me as his integrator, and I'm saying, yeah, that's a great idea, and I know a guy that has a lot of cattle, and he said it's a great way to turn a large fortune into a small fortune.
Right.
He said, I only lose $60,000 a year on my cattle. It's a great hobby. I don't want Dustin to get cattle.
Yeah, probably not going to get cows, but I do like looking at it. But yeah, 100%. It's the land thing. There's also this, and Dr. Wayne's Wire, if you know that name, did a movie, but it's also a book called The Shift.
Oh.
And I've only watched it. I didn't read the book. If there's B-rated movies, this is a C-rated movie, how underproduced it really was. I found it on YouTube. It was about how people go through this time in life where they just want slower things, and want to relax more, not be on the go so much. And I think that's why I wanted to land. And honestly, that's what I feel when I'm at the campground, when I'm not dealing with the management issues that I'm dealing with now. It's the world's slower there.
It definitely is slower. We've spent a lot of weekends there.
Yeah, my cell phone doesn't work. The internet rarely works, only in certain places. There's not a TV there. So it's great. I like having that, and I love the kids having kind of those two worlds.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's always fun to come back on Sunday, from this campground to the uniform if you wear there, cargo shorts with boots on, and to what my wife called a mansion, which is not a mansion, by the way, by any means. Pretty modest house in a subdivision, but it's like such a different world, and I love that the kids get to experience both of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's going in the small town, so the campground's in Lesterville, Missouri. Small town of about 700 people that triples in size in the summer because of so many campgrounds are down there. But it's kind of going back 20, 30 years. It's just a different world than what we're used to, and I really enjoy that. And I know what we're doing, even though it's out of balance right now, the kids and I will be better for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we've talked about a lot. We've said, I think, in every episode, are you ever in balance? And we say, no, you can never be fully in balance.
Correct.
And this is one where it's obvious. How obvious is this? It's 10:15 on Memorial Day, and Dustin and I are in his office, and he's going to be continuing to work today.
Yeah.
And, just came back from the campground yesterday. But, there's a big imbalance. It's not causing anything that's unhappy because his wife, his kids, they're coming down to the campground. So, it's in that way, it's not horribly negative. But we talked about this week. It's like we need to do a podcast episode just to talk about the imbalance that we have in our life right now, because as much as you try to avoid it, it happens anyway. Now, in this one, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
It's just where the focus is right now, because you realize, wow, this is our business with
Yeah.
money changing hands and credit card machines and cash registers and employees and rafts and a store that has merchandise. And, it's just so different than what either one of us ever do. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, a lot of fun, but I agree. It doesn't have to be, being in balance doesn't have to be bad. Last year we talked about my health journey on one of the episodes. I was imbalanced then because I was so focused on health and nutrition and working out and stuff like that. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just out of balance. So,
Right.
But what I say to that is make sure you have clarity around it. Clarity is power.
Yes.
So if you're feeling in balance, hey, schedule that, either if it's a self-help day or a self-care day or being time with your family. I'll leave the office today about noon or 1, and we're going to do something with the kids because of that, right? Because it is Memorial Day, and we want to have that balance and make sure all those pillars are taken care of.
I have to get home and get the ribs on the smoker, by the way. That's why we're doing this early in the morning. I'm like, nope, I got to be done in the morning. I have to get the grill going.
Gotcha. So you guys will hear this in a couple weeks, but it's Memorial Day 2022. So thank you for everyone that's served, of course.
Yep.
But we just wanted to give you an update and show you that balance is hard to come by, but make sure you have clarity around those pillars, because once those are congruent, things run a lot smoother.
Yes, absolutely right. So we'll have the normal links in the show notes to our website, how you can reach us, with an email, our Facebook page that's specific for the Balanced Business Dad. It'll all be in the show notes rather than rattling it off now. But hope you enjoyed this. If you're a first-time person, subscribe to it from wherever you get your podcasts or on the website, and you'll hear more of these as we come out every other week with another Balanced Business Dad podcast. And next time we'll go back to talking about the next pillar. We're going to talk about marriage. And then we'll probably have an interview with somebody after that to talk more about business and balance.
And dad.
And being a dad.
All right. Love it, guys. Make sure you guys stay balanced and have a wonderful day.
All right. See you guys.